There's beauty in space, and one of my favorite ways to imply magnitude is subtlety. It's easy in a series to remember the big moments, the action and stress of what's happening, but one of the golden rules of art is contrast. What goes up must come down, but another way to think about that is for something to start, it needs to be set up, and inherent to its nature, subtlety tends to be overlooked. Spoiler warning for episode 6 of The Last of Us. A comment from my most recent video on The Last of Us stated that they don't believe the cinematography is very good. I disagree. I think there's a remarkable beauty and subtlety, especially prevalent in episode 6 of The Last of Us. This episode was shot in Alberta, Canada. The incredible on-site location makes for an amazing backdrop for the story to develop. And after so many intense emotional episodes, some space is appreciated. Because for a roller coaster to be really exciting, it all starts with a climb. It's easy to reduce The Last of Us, simply calling it a zombie show, but I think that it touches on much more than that. I think it focuses on the human condition, specifically how humans might react to a reduction in society, like the Dark Ages, a cultural setback, where violence exists as a necessity for self-preservation, empathy is weaponized, and trust is a trait becoming less and less common as it's removed through a form of unnatural selection. In this episode, we see an exploration of the trauma Joel has experienced. As his relationship with Ellie has grown, his coping mechanism, denial, has slowly faded. In the first half of this story, there's been a sense of claustrophobia. Whether it's the quarantine zones or cities, throughout a lot of this story, our characters have felt trapped. So this episode, that frames Joel and Ellie as small against the vastness of Wyoming's nature, feels like such a contrast to what we've experienced so far. And I think that this visual representation of space also ties into Joel's development. Ellie's changing him, and for the first time in a while, he's afraid.
I was never afraid before you showed up.
Who he's become after losing Sarah 20 years ago is foreign to who he was before the infected outbreak. A lot of his skills come from a lack of hesitancy, an intense sense of self-preservation.
But she had to shoot him to save me, 14 years old. Because I was too slow and too fucking deaf to hear him coming.
Pedro Pascal's performance during this monologue is phenomenal. But one of the things that adds so much magnitude is the fact that Joel's emotions have been very muted this entire series. So to watch someone who promised a child that she was not a human being to him, but just cargo, cry from a place of fear, specifically a fear of ineptitude, that he's going to be the reason she dies, is remarkable.
I saw a man kill his own brother to save her while I just watched. And today I thought that dog was going to tear her apart because it smelled something on her. And all I did was stand there. I couldn't move. I couldn't think of anything to say. I was so afraid.
But what brings Joel fear brings Ellie comfort.
You know, I stood up for you today because I thought...
And when Joel feels the need to separate himself from Ellie, she fights back.
You'll be way better off with Tommy.
She holds on.
He knows the area better than I do.
Do you give a shit about me or not?
Of course I do.
Then what are you so afraid of?
And he gives her a choice.
I still think you'd be better off with Tommy.
Let's go.
And she chooses not to be alone. And then we're reminded that this is The Last of Us. Their entire relationship that they just built is now being threatened.
Joel, open your eyes. Open your eyes. Joel, you gotta get up.
And Ellie says what we're all feeling.
I can't fucking do this without you. I don't know where the fuck I'm going. What the fuck I'm gonna do. Joel.
Another phenomenal performance from Bella Ramsey is matched with a beautiful cover of Depeche Mode's Never Let Me Down Again. And we're left with a phenomenal ending to another episode. Thank you. Come back next week for more Last of Us content.